Good morning, everybody, and welcome to a chilly 46-degree morning here in Big Tujunga Canyon. Some of the Angeles forest is actually closed because there was a big rock slide, and so we're sort of limited to one side, although it won't affect our video here. This is the 2019 Roush Stage 3 Mustang. I've reviewed a couple versions, the older versions of the Roush Stage 3, and if you recall those, I wasn't particularly impressed with those. There was a lot of things sort of glued onto them, and other than the supercharger, the substantial Mustangness hadn't been altered. And so here we are, 2019, with the facelifted Mustang. The base car on which this Stage 3 is built is a $48,000 premium GT without adaptive suspension, but with a limited slip differential. And forgive me for reading off the list, but there is quite a lot here. The basic Roush Stage 3 package is $23,000 on top of your Mustang. That includes the supercharger, good for 710 horsepower, upgraded half shafts, 20-inch regular cast wheels, a coil-over suspension system, height adjustable, higher flow grills, a chin splitter, aero corner pockets, whatever those are, hood heat extractors, a bunch of Roush fender badges and graphics, lots of Roush fender badges and graphics. Then you have $6,800 worth of options, including billet pedals, the sport exhaust with quad tips, the quarter window scoops, the Roush leather seats stitched in silver, 20-inch forged wheels instead of the cast wheels, and then the upgrade from a one-way coilover suspension to a three-way adjustable coilover suspension. Now, I realize it's a lot of list reading, but there is a point. The point is, this Mustang, as it sits out the door, costs $79,000. Oh my God. Just to refresh, you can get a GT350R in the high 60s right now. So, yeah, let's go for a drive. Oh, we don't even have to go for a drive. Who heard that? Mustang MT82 gearbox, not upgrading this car. Listen for it. When you put it into first, you hear that? Every time you go from neutral to first, not just the Roush, all the Mustangs, not the Shelby, you get that clunk into first gear. All right, so that's a pile of things. Here we go. Regular 1-2 shift, and I heard an audible grind from the back, and I didn't miss that shift. That's just a regular old shift with a net result in the grind department. Normal drive mode. Let's go into sport driving mode. There we go. Sport plus driving mode should give us better throttle response. Tighten up the steering, maybe add some weight to it, because we don't have the adaptive shocks. There will be no shock adapting. Let's see. 710 horsepower is a lot, although the internet, being the internet, will be totally desensitized and unimpressed by that number. Roush, for all my criticisms of them, and I have had many, they know how to build an engine. This engine is fundamentally, forget the word fundamentally. This engine is a total powerhouse. It's a monster, but also 90% of the time when you're running your errands around town at mild applications of throttle and in traffic, it is virtually indistinguishable from a standard Mustang engine. You don't really notice that the blower is there in terms of your daily drivability. I will say that if you're out of boost, if you're not on the power and just sort of driving around, the blower does spend an awful lot of time, listen for it, clunk, the blower does spend an awful lot of time in vacuum. And so actually on a day-to-day level, believe it or not, in some ways it feels slower than the stock car, or at least less lively, because if you're not up in the revs and in the pedal, it's in vacuum. We're gonna try and avoid that situation today by using more throttle. I swear I just heard another grind going in a second. These gearboxes are so bad. This car has 2,000 miles on it. It's like a joke. The gearbox would keep me out of this, for sure. For 79 grand and you're not getting a Tremec, no thank you. It's refined. It is not gonna jump out and kill me. Give them that. It's not even particularly loud, although with the adaptive exhaust, am I in a quiet mode? Do I need to go to a loud mode? That seems louder. Alright, so listen. I'm sure that this engine makes the advertised power. This is a number, roughly, that's been used over and over and over again when this blower has been attached to the 5-liter Coyote engine. However, I will repeat what I've said before, which is that Mustang horsepower isn't like other horsepower. It's less. For instance, a 700 horsepower 911 would feel way faster than this. I think a 500 horsepower Corvette would feel faster than this. Either there's a ton of drivetrain loss, at 3,700 pounds, give or take, the car is just, I don't know, too heavy. The gearing's wrong. Something about it is up, because it just isn't that fast. I mean, it's fast, but it's big and boaty fast. It's not nimble. It doesn't feel like all of that power is making it to the ground all the time. And I've complained about tires on Roush cars. We had one that had Coopers on it once that were no good. This does have P0s on it. I mean, look, if that's 700 horsepower on this road should be scaring the daylights out of me. Should we try the tunnel? Is there work in the tunnel? I don't want to go flat into a bunch of construction workers, but let's see. Maybe it needs a tunnel. Well, it sure turns fuel into noise. It sounds the business. It's just not that fast. Maybe I'm spoiled, but it just feels like if this is a 700 horsepower engine, it feels like it's not making it to the ground. I'm genuinely not sure if I could go much faster up this road in this or in like the Bullet. I mean, the thing about the Bullet and other, Mustang GTs they're pretty quick now, and I don't know. I feel like the extra horsepower of this car, turning radius is acceptable. I just feel like the extra horsepower of this car isn't getting me much in the way of extra performance, considering the amount of money that it costs. So here's how this worked. They dropped the car off to me in LA. I drove it around the city for 3 or 4 days, and it started raining. I couldn't film it. And so I postponed the shoot a week, and now here we are. It's no longer raining, okay? But while I was driving this car around the city and on the highway and doing my things with it, I just couldn't help feeling that the normal seat, albeit covered with Roush leather, the mostly normal looking body, although covered with Roush stickers, the dashboard being basically stock except for the 2 gauges here. And then I thought about the price, and then I thought about how many times I used full throttle and how often that 300 or 225 horsepower Delta versus the stock car, how often that made a difference. The answer was very rarely, almost never. The truth was, in my daily life, there's not much difference between 450 and 700 horsepower. So the differences have to come from feel, response, aesthetics, sound. If I'm going to spend more money, and I don't know if I'm not speaking for everybody, certainly, but in most of my daily life, I can't go any faster in a 700 horsepower Mustang than I can in a 450 horsepower Mustang, and that is why the extra 30 grand makes no sense. I would say that if you are going to be spending time on a racetrack, start with a Shelby. I mean, yes, this makes more power than a Shelby, but a Shelby comes with a tougher gearbox. A Shelby's engine, even though, let's make a Porsche analogy, 911 Turbo makes more power than the GT3, and yet people lust after the GT3 in a way they do not lust after the Turbo. I see this as the same way. This is a very normal feeling car. Makes a lot of horsepower. But that horsepower isn't necessarily usable. It doesn't necessarily contribute to the feel of the car, although the coilover suspension is nice. I don't have any complaints about it. It has good body control, at least the way that it's set up now. But the truth is, there just aren't enough differences to justify. I'm going to wait. I just don't want to drive slow. There's not enough differences to justify the price difference. $30,000. I mean, it's $30,000. Wow. Wow. Well, that's really all I have to say, I guess. I'll just go fast for a little bit. Here's just the noise until I get back, because I'm out of things to say pretty much. There's less stuff glued onto this one. There isn't a fake hood scoop that's glued on, so I'll give them points for not gluing things onto this one. It does have the window covers that are fake and glued on, but it's less. Take bumpy roads well. I'll give them that. Takes bumps well. out behind someone who's going more normal speed, it puts things a little in perspective for you, I guess. All right, well, you get it. Thanks for watching, guys. Thank you to Roush for giving me the car. I'm sorry if I didn't say what they wanted to hear, but that's how I feel. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.